We're back. Yes, it's been a crazy weekend, y'all. But we are back. We are back and badder than ever. What? Here to talk to you all about the controversies. Hello and welcome to Chaos Corner. I'm Alex Wagner, the real Alex Wagner. The R stands for real. That other Alex Wagner you may have heard of, well, she, he, they, whatever, not real. I'm the real one. That was uncool. You know, she does identify as a female, so at least I think so. MSNBC, you let me know. Wow, it has been a crazy weekend with some more updates on our war of the conservative networks. Remember, you can follow me, Alex R. Wagner, on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow Envy on Instagram, YouTube, and the TikToks and the Rumbles. And you can follow us on Rumble here at No News is News, or Envy Pictures for our wedding podcast, or the holidays on Rumble for the holiday sketches. It's been quite the intense one, everyone. Let's pull that down. All right. Oof. So today I first saw a tweet from Steven Crowder himself in which he did proclaim that he will be on Timcast later tonight. But in true epic fashion, I will read his official statement from his fan club, because obviously I'm a part of the fan club, because the Mug Club is the club of not being a super weird person that thinks that corporations are right. Why are you defending corporations? Stop defending corporations. You're stupid. Stop it. All right, here's what Steven Crowder said. Dear friends, as you all know, making press appearances isn't something I do often. However, with all that has been said about me, about this company, and most importantly, about you, doing so has become necessary. I will be sitting down with Tim Pool tonight, Monday, January 23rd at 8 p.m. Eastern on Monday Night Raw. No, I mean on Timcast Live real life thing. They need a better name for that show, because like it's getting really famous now, but Tim Pool IRL, like, no thank you. Also, like, added Tim Pool IRL on this, thinking, you know, I'll add the actual show instead of just Tim Pool. And then looked at the Twitter, and the Twitter has been suspended. So what's the deal with that, huh? Yeah, that's what I thought, huh?
I haven't been happy for a while.
Exactly. But we're over here, and we are talking about the big controversy. Oh, and then he finishes it with, I will be talking about hashtag Stop Big Con, the Daily Wire, and all the issues plaguing the conservative media landscape today. So not only will this mofo be on Tim Pool, but he will talk about hashtag Big Con. Okay, so like the thing with Daily Wire, the Daily Wire. Okay, so the thing with the Daily Wire and all the issues around the conservative media landscape. So the Daily Wire. So he's just going to talk about the Daily Wire for a while. So that's all the news we have for that, because we got to wait till 8 p.m. tonight to see what actually happens. But today we had a lot of weird news, because there was a lot of murder. There was a lot of killings. There was a lot of dead people everywhere. There was a lot of countries falling apart, you know. You know, China, like, or Japan said that, like, people need to start making babies. And then you got, like, Pakistan out of power. And then, like, we'll get to it, but, like, the head of the EU being like, I don't like Twitter because, like, Elon Musk. So there's just been a lot of weird things going on in different countries, and this all is happening at the same time that Mr. Joe Biden has been discovered.
They're all in a box. You can't say out loud that this person ever did anything good, and I'm done with that.
Exactly. That's the problem here, people. We don't understand the difference between Joe Biden and Trump. Trump tried to stop these documents from happening. Joe Biden was over here making sex with these documents or something. I don't know. He's been trading them since before he was even able to trade them. He's like the worst Pokemon card trader like of all time. So just like saying, like, whew, Joe Biden.
The radical left.
True international effort to pressure. True international effort to pressure.
Oh man, I just don't know anymore. Because Joe Biden has been in it again. On Friday, they reported that I just want to make sure that this isn't more documents. Julian Assange to be. Oh, they're just saying Julian Assange might die in jail or something. The Joe Biden documents. I'm sounding like Joe Biden right now, guys. I'm sounding like him.
International effort to pressure.
But I just gotta say that Joe Biden doesn't know what to do about these documents, y'all. Just like I don't know how to talk about these documents anymore, y'all. But it really is something of importance, y'all. It's something of very much importance, y'all. So, yeah, there was 5 documents or 6 documents or 7 documents found on Friday. And those documents were when he was a senator. But again, I just want to reiterate to everybody that is listening that these two things are not similar at all. But if we're going to compare them, Trump did and Biden was like every single time. Like there's not even an answer to it, but I can repeat exactly what they say. They go, well, there is a clear difference here. While we shouldn't compare the two, there's a clear difference here. And that clear difference is that Joe Biden let the FBI do this and knew he was committing a crime. And Donald Trump tried to stop them from stealing the documents back. He's a criminal. And they say it over and 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 over again.
They're all in a box.
But yeah, it's been a long weekend of that and a lot of craziness and hell from the world. Not a lot going on with the Ukraine though. Like we throwing around a bunch of tanks. If y'all didn't know, we gave them like a bunch of tanks. So they have a bunch of tanks now. And apparently, according to CNN, we should have given them the tanks a long time ago, but we just didn't.
They're all in a box.
Anyway, I think it's time. I think we've done enough. I am pumped for Steven Crowder. I think that Steven Crowder is going to be able to explain this better than anybody else has been able to explain it. But simply, the reason you should be on Steven Crowder's side is if the Daily Wire is going to claim that they are a network fundamentally built on stopping wokeness or stopping cancel culture, then you can't fundamentally put it in every single one of your contracts on your baseline that you're going to punish anyone that gets demonetized. You're losing your own value statement. You're losing the value statement of the conservative movement completely. I don't really give a shit about the conservative movement, so it's really weird when Steven Crowder does it that way. You should just be like all YouTubers in general that communicate poorly, i.e. me. Because if you say the wrong thing the wrong way once, no, but twice, you get slapped and then punished and deleted. But then again, on that note, YouTube is at least better than some. This week, our podcast, No News is News, as well as this show, podcast, Alex Wagner's Chaos Corner, were both suspended from Anchor and then ultimately deleted from Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. So I guess you could say we were banned across the board, right? No, our RSS feed was banned, but we will be back. Most likely we're thinking that we're going to just deal with Apple because if we deal with Apple, we can get through our clearances for No News is News and for this show much easier. For some reason, auditorially, you can't even listen to things that you're doing commentary on anymore without being suspended. But then again, like we've sent 2 different legal notices to the Anchor infringement department. If the news is slow this week, I may actually do a whole video to break it down. But basically, they're ghosts. They're silent. So maybe we need some CoffeeZilla up in here, figure out what the hell is going on. But we need some independent internet journalists. But at the same time, that's what I'm talking about with Steven Crowder. Quit saying the conservative movement if you're not trying to just sell your own fucking app, brah, and respond to an email. Or better yet, bring up people that aren't conservative that would also identify with a free speech network, i.e. Logan Paul, CoffeeZilla. There's a plethora of other ones. Like even Mr. Beast. Like there's a lot of people that would identify with you because of the way that the algorithm has treated you specifically. But because Steven Crowder, you're all about the conservative movement and I just want to get my fucking cash and I just want fucking subscribers, then like nobody's going to fucking pay attention. So it kind of sucks because I feel like it's dwindling. I hope that the words spoken tonight by the king of independence, especially the king of late night independence. We call it late night, but really it's just, monologue comedy. And he's one of the only people on the conservative side besides Greg Gutfeld that claims to actually even be doing comedy. Though most of them are just comedic commentary at this point. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Let's get into the Chaos Corner. Ooh! Are you ready? Y'all ready? My grandmother said that I danced like Trump on my wedding podcast. Ooh. I'm down here in the corner of chaos. All right, first up we got some Don Lemon, and I think it's a Caitlin Hottie Caitlin. I don't know what her name is. She's starting to become more annoying too. I think she's gonna be the next Aaron Burnett, but we'll see. Here we go. Boom. What we got? Oh, this is old school. We can't do that. That's old school. Oh, man. I messed this up. Pull back up. What? Hey. I was giving you January 8th stories, people. That wouldn't work. We got to talk about the documents today. Okay. There we go. Documents. Chaos Corner with the press secretary up first. Let's go. Here we go. What's going on, yo? Excuse me. Thank you. That was rude.
When you and the White House and the president all say that the president takes these classified documents very seriously, without commenting on the ongoing legal issue, what would you point us to that would demonstrate that seriousness?
Ooh.
I'm going to really refer you to the.
That is so poor.
I am.
So the president continues to say that he takes this seriously, and you can't demonstrate how he takes it seriously.
Let me just finish. Let me finish my answer. I'm gonna refer you to the White House counsel's office.
Oh man, that's so bad. That's so bad, y'all.
The statements that you've received from his personal lawyer, I'm going to refer you to the 45 minutes of conversation, of back and forth that my colleague has had with all of you last week. He's about to do another one where you can ask questions about this particular legal matter. Again, that's where this belongs. That's where I'm going to refer you to. But again, you've seen the statements. You've heard from the president a couple of times. You've heard from his personal lawyer. You've heard from the White House counsel's office. And that's where I'm going to leave it.
The radical left. Would you shut up, man?
Listen. True international effort to pressure.
I think we know that this guy's wrong, but at the same time, wow, what a statement from the press secretary. Hey, press secretary, how is he taking it seriously? I'll refer you to the other department. It looks like SNL is dead, because if you watch the actual show SNL, which this week we will be covering it. I'm sorry, we didn't have it. We had it on our Twitch schedule. It didn't happen. It'll happen this next week, which also is very interesting because this week we're going to have 3 sit-down podcasts, reactionaries. The first of which is our No News is News on Thursday night. The second is going to be our wedding podcast. And the third will be a live reactionary commentary to Louis C.K.'s live stream this Saturday night, followed by SNL. So you will watch us live as we laugh with Louis C.K. and the rest of the world in a historic live stream where he's sold 18,000 tickets in Madison Square Gardens, more than any other comedian ever. And he's been wildly promoting this on different podcasts, including Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn. But we will definitely probably be laughing at the new Louis C.K. special, and we will see if he can warm us up enough to possibly laugh at SNL. But I don't know. But it'll be an epic long one of comedy on that Saturday night. But yeah, back to it in the chaos of the corner. Oh man. Okay. What the hell? We keep losing the audio.
Vehicle still up in flames here over at the
This was in
Andrew
Atlanta.
Young and Peachtree. And if you take a look over here, if you pan over, I want to show you. This is what they were handing out at that protest. So it was a largely peaceful protest where they just wanted what they're calling justice for
Excuse you?
So sorry. And right now,
you'll see,
basically
they can't even pronounce his fucking name, and they're trying to send you the propaganda.
That happened when the Atlanta police and the different law enforcement agencies were raiding the forest over there to try to basically clear out the forest after everything that was going on, all related to this.
Yeah, so basically, if for those of you that are just listening, this man was standing in front of what appears to be a police vehicle on fire in downtown Atlanta. They pan away from that to him sticking up a piece of paper that says, this pamphlet shows that the people that were here, as there's a car on fire behind him, a police car on fire behind him, they were mostly peaceful and they were here for and that he doesn't even know the name of the person that the protest is apparently for. It's called Antifa. Antifa was in Atlanta and they disrupted a police department, and they're a terrorist organization that should be treated as such. Let's keep going. Oh, this is wild.
Woman.
So this is gonna be it's a anti-feminist and feminist debate between women, biological women, under the rule of it's rational for, or under the notion of it's rational for women to fear men. So is it rational for women to fear men, and why?
The stats will say a trans woman, which I would say is a man, a trans woman, it is less likely, like very unlikely to attack. But it's not even, it's really kind of the principle. It's like, but if they were to, they would beat me up.
But then I'm going to take that one step further, which is that if they were to, and then the police were to come, what would their experience be like versus yours as a white woman?
What?
I'm not talking about the cops. It's just me and the cops.
Why is she attacking her like that?
I actually hate the cops. Just saying. I don't like cops.
If you see a male person and you see a trans woman, Like, what does that have equal amount?
Is that a trans woman?
Yep. Is there a difference?
So my thing, I'm trying to focus in on a trans woman wants to beat me up.
Beat you
Why
up.
are trans women wanting to beat you up?
No, that's not. I'm saying hypothetical. It's a hypothetical. I'm just saying, like, can we all agree that I would get my ass beat?
But I'm saying.
Well, yes or no? I mean,
yes, maybe, but then.
Well, maybe, but then.
Outside of just that hypothetical.
Outside of that moment.
I want to finish my thought.
Who gives a shit?
That's not the prompt, though.
No, but it is the prompt because we're talking about. We can't talk about this in a hypothetical vacuum.
What's the prompt? The prompt was that it's rational for women to fear men. But you're bringing in trans women when the discussion is men.
It's not about physicality for me. It's about power.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
is that,
and that's what you are saying.
And that's what I'm saying is that that situation is so unlikely, and it is unlikely because of the difference in societal power that you hold over a trans woman.
That's not exactly true.
For people who love to
I understand what you're saying.
love to criticize other people for assuming genders incorrectly, you love assuming how things are going to happen and like predict the future and how situations play out and how I'm treated by everyone else.
Well, you're hypothetical. That's a hypothetical. You're also
assuming what would happen to me.
Right.
You're assuming they would beat you up.
A man would beat me up. Yes.
Yes. You're assuming a trans woman would beat you up.
We'll be specific.
A male. Yes.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. You want to avoid answering that part and going to this bigger, broad thing to avoid. If there's a biological man, a trans woman.
Right.
I disagree with you on the definition.
Oh my
biological
God.
Male.
But I'm a biological woman.
Well, we'll say male or female and gender man or woman.
I'm a biological woman.
Fucking A. Oh man, these women. It was yeah, that's okay. You can't. You have one side of the room that thinks that trans women are women and nothing more, nothing less. And you have the other side that it's like, if you put a wig on and say I'm trans and punch me in the face and you have a dick, that probably would hurt more than if you didn't have a dick. And they're like, I don't believe in your definition of who is a dick and what is a penis. Okay, then. Let's keep going. Damn, every time we keep getting locked up.
President Biden is still intending to run for re-election in 2024, right?
I'll just repeat what the president said after the midterm election, which is he intends to run. I'm going to be very careful from here, as you know, because we are covered by the Hatch Act, and I'm not going to speak further to his process.
Okay. So
the
he's
House
going to run for
Oversight Committee
president?
chairman says this document situation has all the makings of a potential cover-up. Is President Biden involved in a cover-up?
Ooh, good question.
We have been very clear here from
Why are you so insulted?
this administration. The president has been very clear that he takes this very seriously when it comes to
Does he?
When it comes to classified information, when it comes to
But you were just asked
documents,
how he
that
takes
his
it seriously.
team
He said
has
refer you to a different department.
has been fully cooperative with this legal matter. Anything else, Peter? And this is, and I'm going to be very serious. You asked me kind of a question that everybody laughed at, which was interesting question to ask. But any other underlying questions that you may have, I would refer you to my colleagues, the White House counsel. I'm going to continue to be prudent. I'm going to continue to be consistent and refer you to any questions you have there.
Right, because she just doesn't want to answer it. But this is the thing, is this is their strategy. Is they're like, if we just say this long enough and we don't give them an answer on this long enough, they'll just go away. But the problem is this is an actual fucking crime. And the person should fucking leave and not be president. Like, we were after fucking Bill Clinton for the blowjob. We fucking went after fucking, oh my God. Like, it's just, the guy was a senator and he had classified documents that he shouldn't have ever left the facility. You have no explanation. Refer you to the lawyer of the current White House, which isn't this person because he was a citizen when this happened, so he can't represent himself as the president. I'm sick of this shit. I don't know how this is getting by in America, but it's wrong. It's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. It is wrong to identify these things as the same. It is wrong to say that Donald Trump wasn't president when he was. And it's very, very wrong to identify that Biden was a president when he wasn't. He was never president. And then on top of that, now we find out that he wasn't even vice president. He was a sitting senator, someone that wasn't even allowed to take these documents out of the office. And we'll get to that with some other senators trying to answer that question. But again, simple truth. This person should not be allowed to use the White House counsel and the president's office to defend himself from civil action. He's a civilian stealing classified documents from the American government. He should be incarcerated until we figure out what to do with him in a military tribunal, not in a civilian court at this point. Wake up, people. That's how this kind of thing is normally treated. But just not this time. Not this time. Don't compare the two, but also they're both presidents, and let's talk about it. No, you fucking weasel. No. The fucking point is one was a civilian and one was president. One was a civilian and one was the leader of the nation. No one above him. No one above him when he takes the documents home. And you try to tell us that there are people above him after he leaves, but there shouldn't ever be. There should never be a deep state. There should never be anybody above them, but there is somehow. But simple fact, civilian, ex-president. Civilian, ex-president. This is not for the White House counsel, and it's bullshit to keep doing this.
You could lose $100,000 a day.
The radical left, will you shut up, man?
True international effort to pressure.
No, we won't shut up, man. And let's keep going. I'm sorry, people, but for some reason, I think my phone updated or something, and now it's like locking every time. It's so annoying. So I'm taking a little longer.
Is there a precedent for people running for president after FBI agents search their sock drawer?
Say that one more time. Say that beginning part.
Is there a precedent for people running for president after FBI
It sounds like
agents?
It sounds like you already know that the answer to that question. Look, here's what
I don't know the answer to that question.
Here's
an FBI search of a president's residence is a big deal.
Yeah.
Here's what the president's going to focus on. He's going to focus on continuing to deliver for the American people. That's his focus. That's what he focuses on every day. That's what he's been focusing on the last 2 years. And nothing is going to change that. You think about the bipartisan infrastructure legislation. You think about the Inflation Reduction Act. You think about the CHIPS
I'll
and
refer
Science
you
Act.
to the White House counsel's
Those,
office.
the bipartisan one, the last two that I mentioned.
You want to hear
done
about
in a
those documents, though?
bipartisan way. That's what
I'll
the
refer
president
you
wants
to the White House
He wants
counsel's
to
office.
continue to deliver on his economic plan that is going to build the economy from the bottom up, middle out. That is what matters to the president.
Okay, so this is the last thing that I'm going to break down here for you on this, okay? So we have three things that three types of people will say. And this is why you know this is a CIA op to instill this president as president still by the deep state who probably elected him in the first place. Okay, wild theory there. First, the president takes documents very seriously. Joe Biden, I take documents very seriously. Any questions on that? I'll refer you to the White House counsel's office. I'll refer you to the White House counsel's office. And the third identifier, the media identifier. We don't want to compare the two, but if we're going to compare the two, remember that Trump fought the FBI when they asked for these documents back, and Biden let them into his home and was a nice guy. This is all the fundamental classics of building a scheme, people. This is Jordan fucking Belfort. This is some bullshit by the President of the United States of America. You thought that the guy in a fucking hotel was bad. You got this guy now. He's actually selling the presidency. He's actually selling this shit. You thought the casino man was going to sell it, but the true casino man was fucking Joe Biden all along. Crazy.
You can't say out loud that this person ever did anything good, and I'm done with that.
You just said the president said that he did not know the documents were there. I'm not actually sure he has said that clearly. Are you saying the president did not know?
Well, he said he was surprised. He said he was surprised.
Any of the documents?
He said he was surprised. I'm just going to leave it there, and I'm going to refer you to the White House counsel's office.
Yep.
I'm just repeating what he said.
I'm going to refer you to the White House counsel's office.
He said he was surprised that the documents were there. He said that, and that he takes this very seriously. That's what I want to make sure that the American people understand. And I just refer.
American people might question that, given that you keep every few days it seems we are finding that more documents have been found at his house.
What I'm telling you is what the president has said, which is he takes this very seriously.
Another question on the documents. You have said, though, from this podium many, many times over the last 2 weeks that this president takes the handling of classified material very seriously. And yet we continue to learn about more documents being found and discovered at his home, including now some that go back decades to his time in the Senate. So why should the American
time in the
people
Senate?
believe
Yeah,
that this
exactly.
president takes classified material seriously and the handling of it?
Look, the president.
That shouldn't even be the
American
question
people
at
heard
this
from
point.
the president directly on this when he was asked by your colleagues at least twice now about how he sees this process. And he was very clear with the response of what we're currently seeing. And he says, I take this very seriously. He said, I didn't know that the documents were there. And look, I think as it relates to the American people and the president standing with the American people, it is going to be up to them to decide how they see this president. Look, this is a president that came into office. 9 million people had lost their jobs. The unemployment rate was 6.3%, and hundreds of thousands.
It was a
of small
national
businesses had
pandemic,
closed
lady.
their doors. And in the past 2 years, we've created nearly 11 million jobs. The unemployment rate is at a record low at 50-year record low.
Yeah, and
In
I'm
the
doing
last
a
2 years
fucking
were the best
YouTube
years
show for no
small business
reason.
Applications on record. We
Please.
talked about that last week, just from here. The president has built the most significant legislative record since LBJ. Let's not forget, there's a CHIPS and Science Act, the bipartisan infrastructure legislation. I just walked through what he's going to see next week when he's traveling to Baltimore and also New York City. The Inflation Reduction Act, which is going to deal with lowering costs. So the president has been in office for the last 2 years focusing on the American people.
Okay, you tell us. Yep, yeah, he's
So
focusing on
gas
us.
prices are now up 33 cents over the past month. The president took credit for the prices coming down. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve, as you mentioned, is no longer releasing. Does the president get credit for the price of gas going up?
Well, it's obviously based upon international and climate events.
That's a great soundbite. Like, hey, so does he take blame when it goes up then? It's climate's fault now.
Shows is this is not a staff problem. This is a Joe Biden problem.
Yeah.
He is a serial mishandler of classified information going back a decade or more. And, so when they try and draw the distinction with Donald Trump, well, Trump was personally responsible for keeping these documents and resisting the FBI. Joe Biden was personally responsible for mishandling classified information going back to his Senate days.
Yeah.
They're all in a box.
He will not allow the American people to suffer because of the backwards agenda that House Republicans are advancing.
It's so pathetic with the House Republican comments. Because this guy can't even, dude, like you got the Senate. Okay, do we not know how a bill works, people? The House makes some shit up. The Senate goes over and writes it into law. And then you go over here and you have the president and he goes, excuse me, I don't like that. And the only way you can get something passed if the president doesn't like it is if you get both. So again, like, I don't know how House Republicans, like, with like 3 seats, like, are people this dumb? Is this easy to be dumb to people?
He could. The president spent the last 2 years, as you know, doing everything he could to lower gas prices for American families, and prices are down about $1.60.
Bro rose gas prices because of fucking Afghanistan.
Now, House Republicans are
Stop
using
it. The
their
Afghanistan
narrow
withdrawal was
majority to
awful
force the
and
American people to
created
pay
this
high
shit.
gas prices, just as big oil companies are
It
amassing
created this shit, you fucking liar.
Are you surprised to see the violence that we have seen there tonight? What do you
Yeah,
think?
what about the violence?
Well, I think that there's a real blurring of the lines in the use of the word violence. Is property destruction violence? To some people, it certainly is. But
okay.
You know,
there's literally a
this
police
idea
car on
that
fire in this video.
breaking windows
talking.
or other acts of property destruction are the same as actual violence against humans it's kind of a dangerous and slippery concept.
Okay, that's really weird.
In the state of Florida, our education standards
DeSantis.
not only don't prevent,
The
but they
radical
require
left.
teaching
Will you
black
shut
history,
up,
all the
man?
important things. That's part of our core curriculum. This was a separate course on top of that for advanced placement credit. And the issue is we have guidelines and standards in Florida. We want education, not indoctrination. If you fall on the side of indoctrination, we're going to decline. If it's education, then we will do this course. So when I heard it didn't meet the standards, I figured, yeah, they may be doing serious. It's way more than that. This course on Black history, what's one of the lessons about? Queer theory. Now, who would say that an important part of Black history is queer theory? That is somebody pushing an agenda on our kids. And so when you look to see they have
Queer
stuff about
theory.
intersectionality, abolishing prisons, that's a political agenda. And so we're on, that's the wrong side of the line for Florida standards. We believe in teaching kids facts and how to think, but we don't believe they should have an agenda imposed on them. When you try to use Black history to shoehorn in queer theory, you are clearly trying to use that for political
all
purposes.
in a box.
Wow.
Is that with the abolishing prisons? Is that part of the? So if you read actually what's in there, they're advocating things like abolishing prisons. Now that's a radical political position. You're free to take that in your own life. I don't think very many people would think that would actually work. But how is that being taught as fact to be able to do that? And I also think it's not fair to say that somehow abolishing prisons is somehow linked to like Black experience, that that's what Black people want. I don't think that's true at all. I think they want law and order, just like anybody else wants law and order. So that is more of ideology being used under the guise of history, and we want to do history. And that's what our standards for Black history are. It's just cut and dried history. You learn all the basics, you learn about the great figures. And, you know, I view it as American history. I don't view it as separate history. You know, we have history, a lot of different shapes and sizes. People that have participated to make the country great, people that have stood up when it wasn't easy, and they all deserve to be taught. But abolishing prisons, being taught to high school kids as if that's somehow a fact.
Let's keep going. Oh, this is Splash Mountain's last day. Yeah. So again, you know, they're going to reimagine this ride as super woke, but the day that the wokeness died, literally Magic Kingdom was flocked. Look at that again. If you haven't, check it out. It's on here. Just what in the world? That's a lot of people. It's a lot of people that Disney's canceling today.
What I am struggling with is not necessarily the levels of classification. I'm not necessarily struggling with the fact that I think he's been a little bit unapologetic, a little bit perhaps cavalier in his response, because he realizes that Trump was flushing stuff down the toilet and he's talking about 300 versus maybe 15.
Yep.
And intent is really important. So I don't think you can compare at all the criminal liability between the two.
But you got to compare it
still. I do have a problem with the process.
Yeah,
why is it that the process is either not ironclad, or they don't know it, or they don't understand it? We've both worked for the government. I could never take something out of a grand jury secret area and take it home without either getting fired or getting someone killed. And I know you've had the same experience. And so, and I was a low-level U.S. attorney. I like to think I was somebody, but I was just what they call a line assistant and a supervisor. So my question is, Biden, Trump, everybody now, Vice President Harris becomes a suspect. Well, what do you have at your house? That's the
What do you have at your house? I like that one. I want to pull that into a bit, man. That was good. That was a good new spin.
Mr. President, a question about the document.
Biden just ignoring people.
You know, the way I look at this is to think about what the Justice Department is doing. It's a reminder that the laws apply to everyone, and that's true whether you're a sitting president, you're a former president, or you're just anybody else. And the Justice Department has said special prosecutor for a former president, special prosecutor for a sitting president, and the Justice Department will go forward without fear or favor. And that's exactly how it should be in a functioning democracy.
Interesting.
What to say?
Gilliam Maxwell
I don't believe
in an
it's
interview.
real for a second. In fact, I'm sure it's not. Well, there's never been an original. And further, there's no photograph, right? And I've only ever seen a photocopy of it. I feel completely divorced from the person that people reference and talk about. And all the various newspaper articles and TV shows and podcasts.
Oh, so she's just like she went full mentally ill. She's a completely different person now. So no questions from Gilliam Maxwell. Duh. But I don't know how she's survived.
Of all the cases you've been
Oh, this is weird. Watch this crap. Oh my God, this is awful.
you're indelibly linked to.
Oh wait, why did it do that?
Words that you're indelibly linked to.
I don't know. Can we not get that one?
Of all the cases you've been front and center.
Yeah, here we go.
There's one that you write in your own words that you're indelibly linked to. Of course, you know that the case is the case of Tawana Brawley.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Of course, she was
Watch this.
at the time, a 15-year-old girl.
This is
who
awful.
Alleged that she was kidnapped and repeatedly raped by 6 white men, including by law enforcement officers.
To let this girl be the scapegoat of
Whoa, L. Franken was fat. He was a fat turd. What a fat turd.
Which ultimately found her story to be a hoax.
Oh, her story was a hoax.
You say to the camera that your position in the case has been distorted. How so?
My position was that there was this allegation from this young lady. There was really questionable behavior by some that she accused. She deserved to have a day in court. Let us bring the case to court.
Right.
And
See
this
that?
prosecutor would not do that.
35 years later, how do you understand what happened to Tawana Brawley?
I don't have any different understanding because a grand jury is not a trial. And there's a famous saying by a judge in New York, you can indict a ham sandwich if you want to. That same prosecutor charged me with taking money from my youth group, and we beat him in court. So why would I believe what he did with a grand jury when I saw what he did to me?
You mean nothing has changed in 35 years?
Absolutely nothing.
Do you think that you were misled in the case of Tawana Brawley?
I have no evidence that I was misled.
But do you think she told you the truth?
Her lawyers is who I talked to. I'm not going to ask a 15-year-old girl all the details.
Wow. That's very interesting. Very interesting stuff here. I don't know what's going on with this. It's all messed up.
Trey, I agree with you. And what you said in your lead-in was that Congress has to reassert its own power investigation. They need to get to the bottom of this. They're the only ones who can make sure that the Trump and Biden cases are treated fairly and equally. They can hire their own investigators. If they really want to go far, they could offer both Biden and Trump immunity and say, look, if you fully cooperate, give us all the facts, we'll give you immunity from prosecution. I actually think it's more important now to worry less about prosecution than figure out why does this keep happening? Because we should also mention a third person who I think went far beyond either of these cases in their violation of the handling of classified information and the harm to our national security, which was Hillary Clinton, who was running all the classified emails from the State Department through her, that went to her through a private, unsecured computer server. So let Congress have an investigation of all 3 of those cases. Let's get the facts, and then the Justice Department will have to be sure that they're treating all the cases fairly.
Yeah, but that's taking honesty into account. That's deciding that, these people are honest. Oh, this is people illegally protesting in front of Brett Kavanaugh's house because there's a new documentary at Sundance. Fun. Roasting people. I don't care.
You run for office in
Oh, he's going to run for president. Maybe he's third party. She came to Florida and it was just like, some bullshit. Yeah, it's that guy supporting Antifa again. Here's white people like filming Antifa shit. Oh, this is fucking weird. We shouldn't be allowed to show this on YouTube, but I guess we probably should be allowed to show this on YouTube because there's a child right there. Why is this allowed? Yep.
Senator,
this was
yesterday for
great.
the fifth
Watch this
time,
one.
we
Ready?
learned about this other
Hey,
tranche of
what's up?
classified information being kept at the president's personal residence. How does a senator accidentally take classified material
Yeah.
home?
How do you do that as a senator?
Margaret, I don't really know the answer to that question because I review classified material as a senator on the Armed Services and Foreign Relations committees, but when I do it, it's always in a classified facility where I don't have access to the materials other than to sit there and read them.
So basically, you had to steal
that's
them.
why there needs to
You had
be
to
this
steal them.
independent investigation, an independent prosecutor. How many documents are we talking about? Dozens, a handful, or hundreds? How serious are they? Why were they taken? Did anyone have access to them?
They're just doing all the talking points, making sure that we get bored because they know it'll take a while to investigate, and they're hoping the news will get off their fucking backs.
But how can he say he takes classified material seriously when some of what was found may have been in his home for more than a decade,
It's
and he
so
seemingly had
bad.
no idea?
Well, the important point there, Martha, is that he had no idea. As you know, if you're serving...
It's important that he had no idea
then
that
if
this
the
is there.
Oversight Committee tries to thread.
This is some
tries to
weird
knit
people
together
trying to figure out
a
how to
quilt
convince
that
the world.
Includes Hunter Biden, these classified documents, as Chair Comer said on PBS the other night, influence peddling by the Biden administration. Is that something, this effect to connect the dots that way, would that be an investigation that the administration would take seriously?
Well, we'll see what they're going to do. I mean, I think that
His lawyers discovered the first batch of classified documents before the midterm election. It wasn't made public until January 9th, and only after reporters broke that story. Was that a
Right.
mistake?
No.
Well, my understanding, and I don't know the intimate details of exactly who contacted...
And can you give us a sense of how many classified documents we are now talking about total across all three locations?
Sure, it's a good question. And actually, the answer to it is a little bit complicated because of this point that I'm making about the integrity of an ongoing Justice Department investigation. The Justice Department is going to be looking at all sorts of questions like that throughout their investigation.
I want to play something that you said last year about the classified documents found at his Mar-a-Lago resort.
It's an outrage. It is a literal outrage for the president to take this important information down to his home in Florida and then store it in a closet with traffic, people back and forth in his resort and golf course is an outrage.
Is it also an outrage for the current president to have
Look at how muted this motherfucker is now.
multiple classified
He's like,
documents in
oh, I'm
multiple
sorry.
locations?
At its heart, the issue is the same. Those documents should not have been in the personal possession of either Joe Biden or Donald Trump. But what happened and followed from it is significantly different.
What is it? Yep. Oh, nothing.
President Biden said he had no regrets in how he handled this. Do you have any advice for him on how he should handle this?
Oh,
moving
I
forward?
think he should have a lot of regrets. Yeah, I
What
would,
are
I would
the-
think that. I said, whoever's responsible. I mean, if I hold people accountable, and I use whether it be my chief of staff or my, my staff that we're doing this, and I'm looking at, then I'm going to hold someone accountable. But basically, the buck stops with me.
So you think he should be out there and look, I messed
That's all.
up.
Just
Maybe
say-
I didn't do it.
I
Just
made a
say it.
mistake.
Just fall on your sword here.
We're all human.
Yeah.
We make mistakes.
Yeah,
I
he's
can tell
running.
you, I don't
He's
think
running for
anyone
president.
intended. He
This
sure didn't
dude is
intend to
fucking
fall into
running
wrong
for
hands and
president.
Use it against our country. I know they didn't intend that to happen. Could it have happened? I don't know. And yeah, you just might as well say, listen, it's irresponsible. It was something we should have had a better check and balance on.
Now, former President Trump defied a subpoena. So in that sense,
see,
the
there
way
it is.
each has handled it is
That's
different. Do you acknowledge
It's
that?
absolutely much different than the other. One's
different.
saying, okay, I hope I didn't make any mistakes. I hope no one was compromised.
And the other one is saying that the other guy made a mistake and then he hit it. Oh, lots of documents. Not a lot of anything else, people. That's the end of our show. I'm Alex Wagner. The real Alex Wagner. The R in my name stands for real. Alex R. Wagner. Woo! And you can follow me at The Real Alex R. Wagner on Twitter and Instagram. And you can follow us on MV Pictures on the TikTok, on the YouTube, on the Instagram. And of course, you can subscribe for $40 a year. $40 a year to see all of our content, all the uncensored episodes, all the ones that have been deleted. We get in all these different situations where there are these different scenes that are deleted in our YouTube versions. So if you don't want to head over to Rumble and you want to be able to see it, you can watch them directly on the iPhone, on your Apple TV Plus, and on your desktop computer, mvpictures.com, MV app, MV Independent TVs and Movies. This has been an awesome one. Stay tuned, because later tonight we have a special new episode of the Holidays podcast with Kimberly DePersia. I'll see you tomorrow.